right, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the party. Today is Friday. Woo! We made it, everyone. Welcome. This is Simply Cyber's Daily Cyber Threat Brief podcast. I am your host, Dr. Gerald Auger, and over the next 45 minutes to an hour or so, me, you, DJ B-Sec hiding behind the glass, Marcus Kyler of the E-Crew, Qilin, Spree, Port Zero in the upstate, Maxwell Vargas, Pamela in the UP, B-Dubs, and Aiden potentially. We're all going to be shredding the top cybersecurity news stories of the day. And I'll be giving my expert opinion and analysis on each of those stories on what it means to you as a practitioner. So, GRC, offensive, defensive, architecture, engineering, whatever your jam is, you're going to get value here because the top news, the current events, we live in a really dynamic world, and our industry particularly needs to stay informed on all those things. So we're going to be going through that today. And because of my experience, I'm going to be trying to distill and rip out actual value that you can implement and operationalize at your organization for your business stakeholders. During MBU, becoming a squad member, welcome to the party, pal. Now, if you're looking to break into the industry or you're just cyber curious, you're more than welcome to be here. Welcome to the party, pal. You're going to get asked in any job interview, how do you stay current? Ding, ding, ding. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. On top of that, the networking is awesome. So you do want to say what's up to everybody. You know, I guess industry professionals do disagree. In some instances, I'm a huge advocate of networking and doing it in a meaningful, deliberate way. I've seen value in it multiple times. I've seen multiple people get value from it. So don't be shy. Say what's up in chat. If you're a regular hashtag Team SC like Temmie07, and if you're a first timer, drop a hashtag first timer in chat. Now, I don't prepare or research for any of the stories we're going to be doing. In fact, mine has something to do with the White House and AI. I don't even know what the stories are. I don't have time for that. All right, I got a lot going on back here in the studio. I'm cooking up stuff in the lab. You know what I'm saying? Raekwon the chef. So that's a bit of a deep cut. The youngs don't get it, but that's all right. Guys, every single episode. Whoa, James McQuiggan coming off the top rope. 22 months, blue badge, long timer. So excited to see everyone next week at Simply CyberCon. He's in Charleston, secure West Virginia. Charleston. Hashtag Team SC. Thank you so much, James McQuiggan. We are super excited to have you next week. On top of that, every day of the week has a special segment. And Fridays is Grayson's Joke of the Week, presented by James McQuiggan at 35,000 feet. So stay tuned for that. The belly laughs are coming. James McQuiggan with 10 gifted subs. So people like Corey Grayley and Vatty, Chip Smith, you are all now squad members. So take a look in the tray there, and you will see what's up. SC Con Hype, Justin Gold, a longer squad member than me. That is OG. Thanks, J-Mod. All right, guys. We got a great show for you today. Super pumped. We're going to be doing panel jaw jacking, so you're going to be getting AMA on steroids. All your cyber questions answered by multiple industry professionals. We got the Simply CyberCon Hype meeting later today at 1. But before we get into all of that, allow me to introduce the stream sponsors and do a little shout out and love to them because they enable me to pay the bills and continue to get up every morning and deliver these hot takes all up in your face. Barricade Cyber Solutions, welcome to the party, pal. Did you know that Barricade Cyber Solutions is dedicated to helping businesses from cyber attacks and recover from the damage done? Cyber attacks can cause massive issues for businesses and send dedicated, hardworking business owners into turmoil. But you don't need to suffer because Barricade Cyber Solutions, they know how to mitigate the damage done by cyber incidents. They know how to put that aloe vera on your cyber sunburns. Come on now, they can eat a threat actor out the environment. See ya! Check them out at barricadecyber.com. Links in the description. Eric Taylor in chat, squad member, 19 months, blue badge, longtime supporter and community member and mod. Love myself some Eric Taylor. Also want to say shout out and love to Delete Me. Now, I actually saw some chat in the Simply Cyber Discord server yesterday about people's experiences with Delete Me. And let me tell you, it's not a fly-by-night operation. This isn't like AG1 and whatever the hell they were doing a couple months ago. Whatever. These thoughts and opinions are my own and not reflective of my employer, Simply Cyber. Listen, Delete Me. Hold on. This the track mouse I have has like the stupidest feature. Okay, here we go. Delete Me. Did you guys know? I don't know if you know, but let me tell you, I'm a person that exists publicly. I put my face all up in LinkedIn and YouTube every day, blasting it out to whoever wants to see it. 150 countries, every single day, 400 plus professionals up in here. So sometimes I have hot takes that aren't, exactly aligned with what people want. And sometimes people, they might get upset about that. And it's easy to find information, including my own personal information, on the internet. So how do you deal with that? How do you deal with those real life consequences? Well, I recently found a solution called Delete Me. It's a subscription service that removes your personal info from the largest people search databases on the web, and in the process helps prevent ID theft, phishing, people showing up at your house. And when you sign up, you tell them what you don't want deleted. I said delete everything. Obviously, I challenge you. Delete me, go for it. They go off and do it. They've done a great work. Every month they report from an accountability and transparency perspective what they deleted and what's in progress. It's a pretty nice service. I like it. If you want to check it out, that's cool. Take control of your data. Keep your private life private by signing up for Delete Me now at the special discount rate for Simply Cyber listeners. You can get 20% off today for your Delete Me plan when you go to joindeleteme.com/simplycyber and use promo code simplycyber at checkout. The only way to get 20% off is to go to joindeleteme.com/simplycyber and enter code simplycyber at checkout. That's joindeleteme.com/simplycyber. Thank you. Delete Me. Oh yeah, we got Antisyphon as well, but more about those beautiful babies at the mid-roll. I also have an update about it. Oh, you can't hold me back. I'm gonna just tell you right now. I'm a man possessed right now. You guys got day 4 of throat gate or whatever I have, sick gate. I'm coming at you. I'm all hopped up on Mountain Dew. Listen, November 4th through November 7th, Black Hills is doing essentially a training that you could take for $0, getting started in security with Black Hills and MITRE ATT&CK with John Strand. My calendar opened up. I signed up for this yesterday. You know what? I could learn more about MITRE ATT&CK. I'm not great. I could tell you what MITRE ATT&CK is, but maybe there's some nuggets in here that I can mine out, and I got 20 years of experience. If this opportunity fits in your schedule, don't pass up on it. John Strand's an amazing person and a great industry practitioner. I'll drop a link in chat. I'll tell you more about Antisyphon in general, but I just want to let everybody know that I will be in this class. So if you want to take a class with me, it's always all about good times. Come on down. Now, every single episode of the Daily Cyber Threat Brief, including this one, episode 737, is worth half a CPE. So say what's up in chat. Maybe say hashtag Team SC. Doesn't matter. You could say IDK if I like Throatgate. Marcus Kyler says, yeah, I know. It just came to me. Marcus, you know how I'm like I don't know. I don't know what I am, but I really don't think through what I'm about to say. My throat hurts. It felt appropriate. We're going to get the Ricola action going on in here in a second, but basically all I want to tell you is say what's up in chat, grab a screenshot, and then once a year, count up your screenshots. As simple as that. And you could duplicate them, right? So you can get the same value. If you have ISACA and CompTIA or whatever certs, you can use it for both. So don't be shy. If today's your first episode, hashtag first timer. We had so many first timers yesterday in chat. If today is your second day, people like Lauren and Ramos and the synthesizer fella, if this is your second day, if you came back for seconds, if you went back up to the buffet, let us know in chat. We had a lot of first timers yesterday. I was super pumped for everybody. So if today's your second day, let us know. I'd love to know if you came back or if you were like, holy Jesus, this guy's a bit much for me at 8 a.m. in the morning. All right, y'all, do me a favor. It's time to get to work. Sit back, relax, and let's let the cool sounds of the hot news wash over us all in a nice way. In a spicy, no, let the cool sounds of the hot news wash over us in an awesome wave, not an icy wave. What an idiot. I did take a bunch of Mucinex, which is not supposed to affect my brain, but we'll see. Jeremy Lincoln, first timer. Welcome to the party, pal, Jeremy.
Welcome to the party, pal.
All right. I do have to take this top off, so please control yourself, Eric Taylor. All right, here we go. 1 second. Let's do it. I'll just not listen to the first part of the story.
These are the cybersecurity headlines for Friday, October 25th, 2024. I'm Steve Prentice. Researchers reveal upgraded Qilin ransomware as a service. According to researchers at cybersecurity firm Halcyon, the makers of the Qilin ransomware as a service have modified their product into a variant that is being called Qilin.B. In a report published yesterday, Thursday, the researchers stated, quote, Qilin.B's combination of enhanced encryption mechanisms, effective defense evasion tactics, and persistent disruption of backup systems marks it as a particularly dangerous ransomware variant, end quote. It also includes additional obfuscation techniques that makes signature-based detection difficult. The earlier version of Qilin is best known for its attacks on healthcare organizations, including June's attack on the UK health provider Synovis.
Okay, so a couple things. One, hashtag shout out. I got timestamps turned on now. You guys can see that on stream. I want to say shout out to Luke J, first timer in chat. Welcome to the party, Luke J. All right. Hey guys, listen. Qilin B attacking healthcare. Ransomware threat actors have been attacking healthcare for some time now. It was kind of like sporadic, and then they basically took the gloves off when law enforcement started kicking their ass, or excuse me, kicking their butt. Sorry, Kennedy and Hannah, if FedEx is there. But there's two things here. Again, I always say, listen, ransomware threat actors are going to threat act, right? You shouldn't be protecting from like Qilin ransomware. You should be protecting from ransomware. And then once you get more mature, more advanced, then yeah, you could start doing specific TTPs if you work in healthcare and looking at Qilin. Classic example of threat actors refining their craft because there has been defenses put in place. It's a cat and mouse game, frankly. And if we on the defensive side come up with techniques to thwart their ability to execute, we're basically taking money out of their pocket. I don't condone or support criminal activity, right? I'm not a threat actor advocate here. But if we think about it objectively, this is how they pay their bills, right? This is how they buy their food. Yes, they probably buy, PlayStation 5 and the new Xbox Series X and a cool car, whatever. But at the end of the day, this is how they fund their lifestyle, right? So if we introduce something that prevents that from being successful, we're basically putting them in the corner, right? And this isn't Dirty Dancing where you put baby in the corner, all right? Threat actors don't want to be baby in the corner. So they refine, which is what Qilin has done. Now, all I would say is if you want to stay up on things, this is exactly why we have to stay current in industry. Qilin, if you didn't know, has changed their tactics. So you got to understand this. One thing that they did say in the story that I want to point out is they said, in this new variant, signature-based detections aren't working as well. Hello, it's 2024. Signature-based detections suck. Like if you're reliant for anything, it doesn't matter. It's Qilin B. In the world of anti-malware, there's two things: signature-based and behavioral-based. Okay. Back in the 90s, signature-based was fine. In 2024, threat actors can change the signature like quicker than I can change cough drops. You know what I'm saying? Or what else would I change quickly? I don't know. But the point is, the fact, like, this is one of those things. It's like the fact that signature-based definitions don't work effectively. It's like, yeah. And for the uninitiated, that sounds like news. But to an old grizzled security pro, you're like, yeah, no kidding. Welcome to the party, pal.
Welcome to the party.
All right, so TLDR, just if you're in healthcare, you might want to uptick this on your radar. Just take a look at it, sniff around. Jesse Johnson, give it a sniff, yeah?
Adds a Microsoft SharePoint flaw to
What's
its
up, Tristan?
catalog. The flaw in question is the Microsoft SharePoint deserialization vulnerability, which has a CVSS v4 score of 7.2 and a CVE number. This means, quote, an authenticated hacker with site owner permissions can use the vulnerability to inject arbitrary code and execute this code in the context of SharePoint server, end quote. Now that it has been added to the catalog, federal agencies must fix this vulnerability by November 12th. And of course, it is recommended that private organizations also review the catalog and address this vulnerability.
All right. So, a couple things here. One, if you don't know, and this is something Eric Taylor and I disagree on, but if you don't know, the known exploited vulnerabilities catalog at CISA is basically a list of vulnerabilities that they as the title would indicate, they have evidence and telemetry from the wild, from the public, of it being exploited. Okay, so this means this is great because this is a step in the direction of the public-private sector collaboration, communication, information sharing relationships that we've been working for years on, to basically have these channels. There's ISAC's Information Sharing and Analysis Center, which is, industry or critical infrastructure specific, that exists for information sharing. But CISA is basically the top of the mountain, if you will. They're America's SecOps group. And they put this together because here's the deal. Someone, tackle Kashmir. You guys might call him casually Joseph. Tackle Kashmir, right? And ask him how many vulnerabilities he has. Okay. He does a lot of vulnerability management. There are so many vulnerabilities. When you scan, if you're new to vulnerability management, the first time you scan, you're probably happy you wore your brown pants to work that day. Okay. But the reality is not all vulnerabilities are necessarily need to be remediated, and not all vulnerabilities are being exploited, and it gets into a likelihood and impact scenario of exploitation, right? This known vulnerability exploited catalog is basically like a cheat code where you can look up. So say you have 100 vulnerabilities on an internet facing firewall. Well, you have 100 vulnerabilities on your internet facing assets, You could use this catalog to prioritize the ones that have weapons out in the world that can either be downloaded or nation state threat actor toolboxes have them, and fire them at your stuff. So this is a really, really great resource to share. Now, Microsoft SharePoint has the problem. All right. I got to tell you guys, personally, I feel like this is going to either give some people PTSD. You youngs, you'll never know. But in the reality of corporate America in Windows environments, Active Directory is a trash fire. Just like the way it's organized, so many people putting stuff in, there's no organization, and there's no way of possibly cleaning it up. And Microsoft SharePoint. Everybody's got the greatest idea for a Microsoft SharePoint. Oh, the team's going to have a SharePoint. Oh, the business unit's going to have a SharePoint. It gets stood up like everything else. It gets stood up, gets a little traction. A newsletter goes out to the entire team or the company. Hey, information security's got a SharePoint, right? And then it just falls into disrepair, and people move on to the next thing. So DJ BSEC says, is this on-prem or M365? I'm going to look right now, but if I money on the line, right? I bet $100. Okay. This is on-prem. Okay. Let's say arbitrary code on SharePoint server, beginning to look on-prem. Let's say. It's probably in the, known vulnerability catalog, honestly. Here's the advisory. Let's see what it says. Because the advisory will say the versions of SharePoint. Come on. Yeah, it's Microsoft SharePoint Server 2019, 2016. It is remote code execution, which is really bad. It has a CVSS score 7.2, which is actually lower. Which is kind of interesting. There is an official fix. So there's a patch, right? You gotta patch it. But I don't know why it's a 7.2, honestly. If you look at the metrics here, it's a network-based attack, so you can do remote code. The attack complexity is low, so a lot more threat actors who don't have skills with a Z can execute this. It does require privileges, so you do need an admin account, which makes it much harder. Okay, so here's the deal. This isn't good. You do want to take care of it, but it would appear to me that this is a second stage attack, right? You'd already have to have creds to the SharePoint server, which is the main reason why it's a lower risk score. You still don't want it. Honestly, if it were me, if this was my organization, I would do an inventory. This is a pain in the butt. And this isn't, what I would do is an inventory of the SharePoint servers on the network, and then go talk to the owners of those SharePoint servers and say, do you need this? And then turn them off. Reduce that attack surface. The problem is sometimes the owners have left the company. Sometimes people don't know, so they just say, yeah, we still need it. Also, like, in the grand scheme of things that I, as an information security professional, need to worry about, doing inventories on SharePoint servers is not really going to ever raise to the standard that it needs to be. But that's how you would address this. Yeah, exactly. Roswell, UK. You can upload and download files. What could be wrong with sharing those, right? Here we go.
Ricida ransoms Easter seals.
Oh, come on.
Another ransomware gang famous for attacking healthcare organizations has claimed responsibility for a ransomware attack on the central Illinois location of Easter Seals, a
Dude, that's
nonprofit
low.
organization that focuses
Low.
on care for the disabled. The attack itself happened in April, resulting in the theft of PII as well as medical information, health information, and passport information for almost 15,000 people. The gang is now demanding payment of 20 Bitcoin.
Dude. I've been saying it, I feel like, more often lately than not. But if you believe in hell, if you believe in the afterlife where there's a place for like eternal punishment for bad people, people like this don't have to wait in line. There's a slide that goes, it's like one of the, like the really high intensity slides at the water park, not the fun ones with the inner tubes, but the one that basically you come off the slide at some point and then slam down on it because you're basically just falling 80 feet. That's the slide that these fellas get to take when they go to hell. Come on, man. You're not going to nonprofit helping disabled people just try to live? That's awful. I mean, it's awful hitting healthcare, but like hitting children, hitting disabled people, like, what are we doing? Plus, they're asking for 20 Bitcoin. I know JMod probably has an app for this, or you can say it automatically, but dude, what's the exchange rate here? 20 Bitcoin equals $1.4 million. Okay. $1.4 million. Let me see this really quickly. Easter Seals annual revenue. They are a nonprofit, but they do generate revenue, right? Let's see. Jesus criminy. Okay. Easter Seals. This is going to stun you. Total revenue, $2 billion. Okay. Total expenses, $2 billion. That's the mark of a nonprofit. So they take all their money and they give it to charity. Now, you can see running Easter Seals costs them $197 million. That's a lot of staff, a lot of infrastructure. But as a person who runs a tiny business, I can appreciate infrastructure costs. So $1.4 million for a $2 billion business is actually not outrageous. So it sounds gross, but the amount is not really out of the scope of what you like. If this was a manufacturing company making $2 billion, I could see this ransom initial demand. I hope they don't pay it. I hope they get help. I hope this could possibly escalate law enforcement's focus on Ricida ransomware. Ricida's been a high-profile threat actor attacking all sorts of, notable organizations in the last couple of years. So, really quick, state of Maine. Anytime I see them in the news, I always like to, do a little hat tip. Maine's privacy laws and requirements for reporting are GDPR-esque. If you're familiar with the European regulation GDPR, where you got to report everything about everything. So, yeah, it sucks. But I guess just, hey, you know what? Let it be known. Like, threat actors will stoop to low, like, some of them, their morals don't exist. They don't care. Right? I don't know if they just see all the Easter Seals people who are recipients as Americans, but I mean, I've seen multiple interviews of threat actors in different capacities, like, wearing a hood or shaded out. Vice News does a lot of these things. And, they basically just see Americans as like fat, happy, wealthy, targets that are living, entitled lives. So hitting Americans is not like, it doesn't register like they're hitting their, neighbor or their, someone who's in their church congregation. All right, let's keep going.
Cisco warns of ASA and FTD software vulnerability under active attack. Cisco is in the news for a second time this week. This time,
holy crap! Sophie Goodwin officially blocking the 8 to 9 a.m. slot on Fridays to be #TeamSC. Welcome to the party, pal, Sophie. I know you're a regular, but I just want to call you out, everybody. Sophie Goodwin, ACI Learning Zone, and great person.
In regard to a flaw in its adaptive security appliance (ASA) that could lead to a denial of service condition. This flaw impacts the remote access VPN service of Cisco ASA and Cisco Firepower Threat Defense software. The company says, quote, an attacker could exploit this vulnerability by sending a large number of VPN authentication requests to an affected device, resulting in a denial of service of the RAVPN service on the affected device, end quote. This is also known as resource exhaustion. Cisco has released updates to address this flaw.
All right. Couple things here really quickly.
You gotta patch it.
You gotta patch it. Yeah. Hey, Priceless Pancake. I'm telling you the same. I'm with you, man. I'm just telling you the perception internationally. All right. So this has a CVSS score 5.8, which is basically if you were taking all the vulnerabilities in your environment and stacking them together, you might get to 5.8 in like 4 years if no new vulns came in. So just being real, okay? Now you should still patch it, okay? This is essentially a denial of service attack on Cisco infrastructure. Cisco Firepower Threat Defense. I'm not familiar with that, but obviously based on the name, it's probably some type of dynamic. A lot of these like high-end security appliances will actually have the ability to ingest real-time threat intelligence. Think IOCs, IP addresses known to be bad. What is it? Domain names that are bad, etc. And then dynamically update your firewall or dynamically update, your XDR or whatever you want. So that's what these technologies are. There's one called Palo Alto Firewire or Wildfire that I'm familiar with that does this. That's pretty good. So if that can be attacked, you technically could do a denial of service on this kind of security technology in preparations of a larger attack, right? That way there's less ability to prevent you from getting in there. I think really the attacking on the VPN service and a denial of service capability is the real problem. Remember, denial of service, let me see. Yeah, unauthenticated remote attackers, which makes sense, right? A VPN appliance is waiting for inbound connections from random people on the internet. So remote, obviously, and unauthenticated because it's got a, really quick, Eric Taylor, I agree with you. Firepower is Cisco. I said Wildfire is Palo Alto. So with the VPN, basically, if there's a denial of service attack on it, your remote workforce, especially if you're completely work from home, work remote business, could be impacted where people can't go to work. Now, typically, not all denial of services are done this way, but typically a denial of service attack is basically through spraying network traffic at the device and basically overwhelming it. You could do like a classic TCPN or TCP SYN attack. Basically starts the three-way TCP handshake, but doesn't complete the third part of it. So the web server is just waiting for the acknowledgement to come back from the client. This is how it is. However, the cache or the queue of outstanding requests will get cleaned up. That's how they do it. On top of it, the threat actor, and probably this is I did say Palo Alto. Palo Alto Wildfire is what I have experience with professionally. The story is about Cisco Firepower. Just so I guess maybe I misspoke and got confused and was confusing people. So let me just clarify that. Final thing, denial of service attacks typically require the threat actor to continue the attack. So once the threat actor runs out of resources, runs out of money, something gets flipped on and off, an engineer trips over the plug and unplugs the master controller computer. I'm being silly, that wouldn't happen, but once the traffic stops flowing, the VPN services will come back up. So that's why, if I had to guess, why it has such a low CVSS score, 5.8. But if you're running Cisco ASAs, which a lot of people are, if you're running Cisco Firepower, you got to patch it.
You gotta patch it.
Thanks to today's episode's sponsor, SpyCloud. Ransomware continues to impact organizations. A new report released by SpyCloud shares insights from your peers in security, the majority of whom were affected by ransomware in the past year. The report has some fascinating industry-specific stats that you will want to see, plus confirms some stark truths that the industry you are in can affect your likelihood of being hit with ransomware. Check it out at spycloud.com/headlines. That is spycloud.com/headlines.
All right. All right, what's up, everybody? Thank you for being here so very much. If you're getting value from the stream, hit that like button on YouTube. I don't care about it personally, like it doesn't float my boat, but it helps the community. I hit the like button as well. It basically triggers the YouTube algorithm in order to help other people find the channel. It basically, the way the YouTube algorithm works, it's like, oh, you're a cyber person, you're a cyber person, you're a cyber person. You all like this show. Let me go tell more cyber people about it. So if you can, hook it up. Hook it up and hit that like button. Pay it forward for the Team SC. I want to say thank you to the stream sponsors, Barricade Cyber, Delete Me, and Antisyphon Training. I mentioned it earlier. Antisyphon Training is disrupting the traditional cybersecurity training industry by offering cutting-edge education in the cyberspace from industry pros who have practical hands-on experience, time in the trenches, for in a fun and engaging way. So you're actually doing your cohort, your students are basically like this in chat right now. They do it through Discord. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of education. It's a lot of entertainment. Antisyphon, they have basically classes for everything. And the best part is some of the classes are free and most of them are very, very reasonably priced. So I'm going to drop a link in chat to the specific class, November 4th through November 7th. So just 2 weeks away. 2 weeks away, November 4th through November 7th. John Strand is doing the Black Hills and MITRE ATT&CK Getting Started class. I signed up for it. It's 11 a.m. to 4 p.m., 4 days in a row, Monday through Thursday. I'll be there, taking it, learning myself a bit more about MITRE ATT&CK, filling up those gaps, right? Think about a good metaphor. Think about a brick wall, okay? You got a brick wall. I got 20 years of experience, so I got lots of bricks, lots of mortar. Well, guess what? Concrete, the mortar that holds those bricks together, it deteriorates over time. It kind of gets compromised, right? Little by little, you might have a hole here, or a hole there, or a loose brick. It doesn't mean you suck. It just means that that's an area that you haven't stretched in a while. It's an area you haven't paid attention to. So for someone like me, an industry practitioner, going back and reviewing and going through this course has value. If you're looking to break in, you're going to get amazing value from this. So it really does play to multiple audiences. You could take this class for $0. So there's really nothing stopping you except the commitment and taking the initiative and obviously your own personal schedule. I hope to see many of you there. We can do a raid. It's going to be good. All right. Every single day of the week. Every single day of the week has a special segment, and Fridays is Grayson, my son. Grayson's Joke of the Week presented by James McQuiggan at 35,000 feet. We're getting ready for Halloween next Thursday, so here's some hauntingly good dad jokes. Why should you invite a ghost to your Halloween parties? Because they always bring the booze. What is a ghost's favorite dessert? Oh my God. What's a ghost's favorite dessert? Everybody knows it's ice cream. What do you do when you get across a snowman with a vampire? You get frostbite. And finally, why did the vampire go to the doctor? Well, much like myself, I might have to check if I'm a vampire. the vampire went to the doctor because he was coughing. He was coughing. All right. Thanks, James, for quicking at 35,000 feet. Say hi to him in chat, and let's get our la-la-las on. All right, let's finish strong, everybody. Got to get to that jaw-jacking panel. Let's go.
Lines. Penn State fined for failing to meet cyber requirements in federal contracts. The university has been fined $1.25 million for, quote, failing to comply with cybersecurity requirements laid out in its contracts with federal agencies, end quote. The issue involves contracts made between the school and the Department of Defense and NASA, in which the school was accused of, quote, failing to implement cybersecurity controls between 2018 and 2023, and after acknowledging the issues, it allegedly subsequently failed to develop or implement any plans to correct the issues, end quote. The Department of Justice has added that Penn State, quote, admitted its cybersecurity failings in assessment filings and pledged to fix them, but misrepresented the dates by which it would implement them and did not pursue plans of action to do so, end quote.
All right, Penn State. I don't know if you're a college football fan, but I don't know how they're doing this season, but it's always dramatic. So they fined $1.25 million in contracts with federal agencies. It's going to get a lot worse for them when CMMC comes out. Not saying necessarily that they'll be fine, but CMMC is going to require a lot. Let's see what they did. They failed to implement security controls between 18 and 23 after issues allegedly subsequently failed to develop. Okay. Basically, they had a POAM and they didn't follow it. That's the TLDR here. They found a bunch of things. They said they'd fix it. They didn't. Okay. Let me tell you something. Like, there's a bigger story here, okay? There's a much bigger story here. Penn State, all I got to say is, are you familiar with the F around and find out linear matrix? Penn State F'd around and they found out 1.25 million reasons of finding out. That's what happened here. I'm sure there was somebody like us who were like, we really should do something. And then there was some researcher running the contracts or some business person who's like, yeah, I think we're good here. I think we're good. It's also possible they didn't even have the cyber people. When I worked in higher ed for a number of years. We forced ourselves into the grants and contracts processes. The problem is that there's a lot of grants, a lot of contracts going on, and there's only so many cyber people, and they're typically trying to protect the infrastructure of the university, not be, consulting liaisons for grants and stuff. So that gap could have happened. Now, let me tell you the bigger story here. Gather around, haircut fish. If the Magic the Gathering card is here. This is one of those moments. If you're a squad member, go ahead and get the more you know emote going here, because I'm about to rip something off here. Listen, this story right here is a symptom, not the cause. Let me tell you something that will save you infinite headache, and you will never learn unless you live it. In the world of information security, especially GRC, so GRC Mafia, mad love. Listen, everybody gets super geeked up. You're going to come in, you're going to do an assessment, you're going to find all the bad, okay? And you document it. Now you got a POAM, risk register, all the things. You're like beating your chest. You're like, yeah, boy. Thank you, Justin. Look at this. Okay, so far so good, right? I feel like you guys are staying with me. 1 year down, you got all the findings, you're high-fiving everybody, you feel like you're kicking ass. You got your 3-year roadmap, 5-year roadmap, it doesn't matter. You could be conservative or ultra aggressive. Chances are conservative because you're not going to get funded for everything. Now you're executing and you don't get funding and issues pop up and interest changes. And then a new CISO comes in because the last one quit for a better job and they want to review everything and look at it and stick their fingerprints all over it. And you basically just trudge forward. Now, what happens is if anything bad happens or you get independently audited, which can happen because usually the contracts when you partner with someone says that they have the right to independently audit you, and they discover that you haven't followed your plan or your security sucks as much as it did day one as it does day 750, that's a big problem. So the lesson learned here, I'm not saying don't disclose. What I am saying is you really need to be mindful of what you document as findings, because findings, I don't even want to say plausible deniability, but once something is documented as discovered and as a problem, which we should be doing, okay? All I want you to know is you are now assuming a different risk of negligence, okay? Again, I'm not supporting ignoring gross incompetence or gross information security risk in order to stick your head in the sand and then have plausible deniability. What I am saying is, in the world of InfoSec, you just got to be mindful, right? Like, if you discover all the things, some of them you may not be able to address, and now you're going to have to document as accepted risk, which is fine. That's really the right way to do it. And then educate your staff and your end users and your board and management and all that. But it just, I guess what I'm saying is the amount of stuff you find in your initial assessment makes you feel good because you're uncovering all the ugly, but you are now heaping on lots of risk and lots of work and lots of budget requests and all those things. So just be mindful. Also, fun fact, typically when you get a third party to come in to do a pen test or something like that, this is another interesting dynamic in reality versus textbook. Pen testers come in, they find, let's say, 50 bad things in your environment. There's typically a conversation between the CISO and the pen testing team afterwards on which findings need to be highlighted in the executive summary as the worst in order to help drive the CISO's agenda on achieving their information security program goals downstream, right? That's a whole other thing. You don't just get the report from the pen testers independently and be like, all right, let's see what they found. No. There's a lot of massaging and back and forth and conversations. And honestly, it's a business thing, right? I mean, it is real risk. Pen testers found it. Pen testers want to be invited back next year to do the annual pen testing because that's straight cash, homie. Straight cash. So what do you want to do? You're going to obviously collaborate and hook up with the person, not hook up, but connect with and align with the person cutting the checks, right? Okay. So hopefully all this was interesting. I can't predict these things, these lessons learned. I don't know how the show is going to go every single day. It's quite frankly, it's a surprise to me as well. But that's what's up. Just be mindful of that. You are potentially introducing massive risk to yourself by doing the things you're supposed to do. But obviously, this is why you have to have holistic programs, 3-year roadmaps, budget, get approval. Whenever you do a long-term information security program like plan, like usually the CISO, you need to get management's buy-in on that early, right? So then you could say, hey, we talked about this, I need this, right? And then you pivot accordingly. But keep documentation. You don't want to be a scapegoat.
67% of organizations say employees lack basic security awareness, says Fortinet. According to Fortinet's 2024 Security Awareness and Training Global Research Report, 2/3 of organizations are concerned that their employees lack fundamental security awareness. This is an increase from last year when the number was 56%. Amit Zimmerman, co-founder and chief product officer at Oasis Security, suggests that in addition to improving employee security awareness training, quote, IT security teams must implement strong identity and access management frameworks with compensating controls like multi-factor authentication to mitigate phishing attempts, end quote.
All right. All right. So, Fortinet's more of a dumpster fire network security appliance or network appliance resource. I say dumpster fire only because they've been covered in the news quite frequently, quite often, with lots of 0 days and vulnerabilities that are being exploited. So that is more of an objective statement than it is a subjective one of slander or libel. Thoughts and opinions are that of my own. So check it out. According to this report, which obviously is going to be slightly skewed. Whenever you see industry reports, you should know that there's a little bit of seasoning thrown on this. But at the end of the day, this is a good opportunity to talk about security awareness, which is near and dear to my heart because I'm a GRC person. GRC, InfoSec awareness, is a core pillar in our bag. I was talking to I'm a faculty at the Citadel Military College. I teach. And the cadets the other day, I actually brought up information security awareness. Perfect. And one of the kids told me, I'm like, do you guys ever, like, sometimes it's hard to talk to 18-year-olds because they've never worked a real job or corporate America. They haven't dealt with like office politics and stuff like that. They haven't had, and some of them haven't dealt with like bills and budget and stuff. But anyways, I asked them if they've ever done information security awareness training. And most of them hadn't, but one kid worked as a sales manager at like, I don't know, somewhere. And he's like, oh yeah, we had to do it once a year. It was like 12 modules. He's like, we would all just open all 12 modules on 12, Chrome tabs and then let them play simultaneously, like while we went to lunch. And then when we came back, everybody in the office had completed their awareness training. I'm like, that right there is what I'm talking about. I don't even blame them. If you think for a minute, annual training and like basically doing the Clockwork Orange thing where you're like basically holding their head and forcing them to watch is ever going to result in any type of behavior modification for your end users, you are grossly wrong. What you need to do is assimilate, empathize, understand what their real challenges are and how they could potentially personally be impacted by cyber risks. Bank account get compromised. Someone steal your phone and get in there. You're sending, nudes to someone on your phone. Would you like that picture to get out? Probably not. And I'm not judging lifestyles. You do you, boo. But my point is, when you start to personalize it and the person can register that, holy crap, this could protect me. Because in 2024, a lot of people don't see their employers as their family anymore. People don't see their employers as like, this is my home. I'm going to be here 50 years and get a gold watch and everybody loves me. No, it's very much more transient. Workers care about workers. Businesses have to provide value to the employees. And for those reasons, if you're talking about, hey, listen, LeGrot, listen, Justin Gold, you need to put on multi-factor authentication because we can't have our business suffer a cyber attack. Okay, I'll put it on, but I'm indifferent. I'm almost apathetic. Like, yeah, I don't want to be responsible for a cyber attack, but at the same time, at 5 o'clock when I punch out, see ya, like, I don't care. But you've got laptops, cell phones, mobile devices, people working remotely, people working, on weekends, nights. So there's a 24/7 risk exposure from your workforce, but a lot of people check out at 5. So long story short, TLDR, if you want to do information security awareness correctly, you need to do it frequently in small digestible bites, kind of like a TikTok. Not saying get TikTok, but like the concept, right? Simple, easy to digest. 1 point and make it personalized as best you can. Big story about Android operating system comes out about like a fake screen that basically is transparent, but when you're clicking in your password, you're actually giving it to the bad guy. Send that to people. Tell them, hey, do you use an Android phone? You might care about this. If you educate them in general, you're basically turning on the light for them about cyber, and they'll naturally bring it into the workplace. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
White House issues updated AI national security memo. This document sets out, quote, key actions for the federal government to advance the safe, secure, and trustworthy development of the technology in the interests of U.S. national security, end quote. This includes steps to track and also counter adversarial development and use of AI. The document builds on President Biden's executive order of October 2023 that sought to establish new standards for AI safety and security, and also builds on the International Bletchley Declaration on Responsible AI, developed and published in November of 2023. A link to a summary of this year's memo's key actions is available in the show notes to this episode.
All right. So, interesting thing here, right? Obviously, hold on.
Shall we play a game?
All right. So, check it out. AI national security memo talking about, essentially, they're trying to talk about developing international norms. And this is the key here. If you're watching on stream, I'll read it out loud. If you're listening on audio podcast, right? Spotify, Apple Podcast. Did you know, by the way, you can get this on Spotify and Apple Podcast? We post it right after the stream ends. Just FYI, in case you're looking to scoop that up. International norms around governance to reflect democratic values. So, you know, the White House is up here playing chess while I'm playing checkers. Right? I'm talking about risk and tactical stuff. The White House is like, bro, we need to get in front of this, because we need to make sure that the international norms aren't about promoting authoritarianism or exploiting citizens or whatever, right? So I do find this wildly interesting. I also, I hope, again, I'm not the most informed person, so what's kind of tough is, this is going to sound terrible. Like, I feel that the U.S. federal government right now isn't necessarily equipped in the best way to be, you know, developing international norms for AI governance. Hopefully they have a lot of great people, great experts who they're bringing in to help shape those norms and those memos. But the United Kingdom, European Union, they've actually been pushing a lot of AI legislation, regulation, concepts. So it's definitely aligned with that. You said that the Bletchley Park thing is good. Guys, I've been saying this since ChatGPT blew up a couple years ago. Like, we need to move faster than glacial at getting structure. You know, I know this isn't a big government versus like small government versus libertarian views. It's just, this is a disrupting technology. This is a paradigm shifting technology. This is, AI is like the internet was in early 2000s when HTTP got developed, and they're like, holy, we can make a lot of money off this. Let's go. Right? It's that. Like, imagine not having the internet right now. That's insane. So AI is that, and they need to get in front of it. I'm interested. If you are interested personally in learning how to manage risk, a lot of people talk about risk of AI. I do have a video for that. You can see it right here. AI risk realized. Link in chat. Basically, MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology, released a framework that is the best I've seen. And I basically go through this framework. I explain why it's awesome, how to use it, and all my thoughts on it. So I basically, spent 6 hours reading this document so you could watch in a 13-minute video what you actually need to know. So, giddy up on that if you're interested. All right, let's go.
Hackers exploit 52 zero days on the first day of Pwn2Own Ireland. On this first day of the first ever Pwn2Own contest held in Ireland, hackers demonstrated these 52 zero-day vulnerabilities across a wide range of devices, earning a total of $486,250 in cash prizes. The biggest prize of the day went to a group named Summoning Team, who revealed, quote, a chain of 9 vulnerabilities to go from QNAP, QHORA 322 router, to TrueNAS Mini X device, end quote. This earned them a $100,000 payout and 10 Master of Pwn points. The event concludes today. Make sure...
All right, a couple things here. One, Pwn2Own, in my opinion, is basically the Olympics of like reverse engineer software exploitators, right? So without getting like too down in the weeds and nerdy about it, reverse engineers can take existing firmware, existing software, and rip it apart and then see how it works and understand it. The next phase that you would pair with that is software exploitation, where you find weaknesses from the code that you did reverse engineering on, and then develop exploits like shell code, assembly, whatever, in order to exercise the exploitation of the vulnerability you discovered. This is hey, Kayla Sturgeon, good to see you. Thanks for the super chat.
Did we just become best friends?
Yep. Ladies and gentlemen, Kayla Sturgeon, amazing person. Got to spend a good deal of time with her at Deadwood. If you get a chance, definitely a good high five. Love it, Kayla. Good to see you. Okay, so this is why it's the Olympics, because these hackers, really security researchers, are coming in in the best of the best in the world, turn out for this, and they go ham on reversing and exploiting solutions, and they get different points and stuff. Back in the day, I don't know if they still do it, but back in the day, there would be cash prizes, as well as if you were the first person to exploit a technology, you got the technology. So famously, like when a new iPhone would come out, say like iPhone 7 is coming out for the holiday season, Pwn2Own would have early access to the iPhone 7, and then immediately some researchers would like blow it up, and it would get a lot of pub and a lot of press. And it's good for Apple in this case because they can fix the problems, right? Pwn2Own, they said it's the first time in Ireland. Typically, if I'm not mistaken, it's found in Vancouver. And the final thing I'll say about this, while it's very awesome and super noteworthy, to curb imposter syndrome and let everyone know, I did some research in this because I was like, this is unbelievable. Like, I feel like I'm kind of smart, and I feel like an absolute, like I'm eating crayons like a Marine because of these people. The teams that are invited to Pwn2Own actually get access to the technologies before the event, so they can begin prepping and researching and everything, because Pwn2Own wants a successful event. They want to be on the daily cyber threat brief as a news story, right? So they want to make sure they're not introducing vulnerabilities into the software and then telling the researchers, look here. They just give it to them in advance so they can prep and do everything. So when you see 52 0 days on day one, just know it's not like these people showed up with a Starbucks in their hand, sat down, and then just like, you know, Hugh Jackman and Swordfish, just like, duh, and like cracking all the things, right? They're not cracking 90s and Fortnite up in here. They had prep and time. You still have to show up and execute on it. And it's still very, very praiseworthy. So way to go, Pwn2Own. You continue to hold the crown, if you will, the crown royale of epic security research competitions. Let's go. We are at the end. Feel me. I will say really quickly, it looked like I saw someone at Deb Wigley in chat. If Deb Wigley's in chat, ladies and gentlemen, do say hi to her. Hope she's well. Always a great person. If you get a chance to meet Deb Wigley in person, an absolute must. An absolute must. You go to Deadwood for Wild West Hackenfest, it's Mount Rushmore, Legends Breakfast, Deb Wigley. That's like the trifecta right there. All right, guys. Hey, really quickly, don't go anywhere, because we're going to bounce over to the jaw jacking, which is a 30-minute Ask Me Anything panel but it'll be a panel today. So we've got all sorts of wonderful industry practitioners, lots of experience. We got red, blue, vulnerability management, GRC, 2 thumbs, this guy. We're going to answer all your questions. It's going to be an absolute event. So don't go anywhere. I'll take care of it. I'll bring you into the show. You don't have to do anything. Just chill. And I want to tell you, if you are interested in Simply CyberCon, we are hosting a... Give me 1 second. We are hosting another live stream today on informing everybody on what's going on with the con, updates, answering any questions, FAQs. You can see here... You can see here, it's right here. I'm going to share this to you all. This is at 1 p.m. Eastern time. 1 p.m. Eastern time today. 1 p.m. Eastern time today. So if you are interested in Simply CyberCon, whether attending virtually, attending in person, or a supporter, organizer, or you're just curious and you like the community, come hang out with us at 1 p.m. It will be on the Simply CyberCon YouTube channel. It will not be on the Simply Cyber YouTube channel. Simply Cyber Con has its own YouTube channel for this type of information. Please join us. We've got updates on the dinner, which you don't have to pay for. We got you covered. It's not quite a steak dinner, Wild West, but it is steak. So updates on that, the after party, the agenda, all the things. You're not going to want to miss it. It's going to be good times. So come join us there. All right, I'm Jerry from Simply Cyber. Don't go anywhere. Like I said, we've got jaw jacking where we're going to give you massive value, like so much value. You're going to be like, please, no more value. I can barely breathe. Like, you're going to love it. All right. Until next time, y'all, stay secure. Hey. Wait a minute. Who's this guy? There we go. Welcome to the party, pal.
Welcome to the party, pal.
What's up, everybody? My name is Jerry Guy. This is Simply Cyber's Jaw Jacking. The next 30 minutes, we're absolutely going to rip the face off of all your questions and just scream the answers into the ether, not ethos. It's going to be all about good times. Tyler Ramsby's in the house. Holy crap. All right, well, let me introduce you to your esteemed panel today. We got a good one. As always, a lot of familiar faces. Coming in from the big state of Texas. He's into high school football and also kicking butt. You know him as DJ Bisek. He's my friend Ben. Ladies and gentlemen, DJ Bisek.
Hey, good morning.
Good to see you. All right, we've also got Chief Forensics Officer at Barricade Cyber. He's known for his dolphin sounds and his hot takes. Ladies and gentlemen, Eric Taylor.
What's going on?
Very nice. Good to see you, Eric. And then most people call him Cashmere. He insists on Casually Joseph, but, we're working on him. Ladies and gentlemen, Vulnerability Management and Gen Z representative, Casually Joseph. Good to see you, Joseph.
What's going on?
All right. So this is how it works, everybody. If you're not familiar with jaw jacking, simply put your questions into chat. We're over on YouTube right now. Put your questions in chat, and I will facilitate and get it to the right person. Gentlemen, Joseph, are you coming to the Simply CyberCon? Oh, is Justin in here? Hold on. I didn't see him in here. I didn't scroll deep enough. Where is he?
He was just in there. No, he just dropped off for some reason.
Oh, he just dropped out. Okay.
Justin, get back in here.
He's not invited to the party.
He's like, fine, I'm out.
No, like Justin's gonna drop the emote of or the GIF from that narco show where the guy's like by himself on the thing. Yeah, Justin, get in here. I didn't see you, man.
So one thing I wanted to bring up for the Pwn2Own, those who don't know, anybody who is participating in the Pwn2Own, yes, some vendors or manufacturers will put out their technology early for the known credible hackers. It's kind of like a private panel or a private testing. So, if you have that certain caliber of people, you'll get access to that. The other thing to know is most hackers, both good and bad, will hold on to known exploits until the Pwn2Own event. Also is a lot of the how do you properly say it? A lot of the illegal sales happen outside of Pwn2Own. So people will go to Pwn2Own to buy malicious software and credentials and things of that nature. So there's a lot of different stuff that goes on at Pwn2Own.
That's great context. That's great context, Eric. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Hey, guys, bringing him in strong. This guy, he brings the heat. Gen Z representing. He knows what's up. He actually helped me understand 300 bars the other day. Ladies and gentlemen, water expert and security practitioner, Justin Gold. Welcome, Justin. You are on mute, sir.
He's muted. What a professional.
Dude.
Morning, everybody.
All right, there we go. We do have room for one more, so if Sophie Goodwin does find a desk and a camera, we can get her up in here, or potentially Kimberly can fix it, or Deb Wigley, get some female representation on the panel. But drop your questions in chat. Do we have any in the queue already?
Yeah, there was a couple in that me and DJ Bisek were pinning up there.
All right, here we go. Kimberly can fix it. Coming in hot with the question, who still uses SharePoint? I mean, it is like Skype or something like that. But I guess, Eric, you work on a lot of incidents. How often are you seeing SharePoint specifically involved in the attack vector?
A lot.
On-prem.
Yeah,
On-prem.
a lot.
On-prem, yeah, of course.
On-prem.
A
Yeah.
lot.
You want to talk about it? Is it mostly ill-permissioned, or is it just
Not patching, not doing so. Casually Joseph goes about this story time, ladies and gentlemen. Let's gather around. So, a lot of patches require more than just installing an MSI KB article. There's registry keys. There's other ACLs that you may have to do. Reading the full description of patch mitigation is very, very important. You know, that you have to go through a lot of different steps to make sure you're properly mitigated. That's why I always say, when you are in the security industry, you could legitimately patch something, but you also got to verify your patches are working, right? You got to conduct your tests, see, did this thing really patch? Can I still exploit this thing? You know, as much as I hate to say it, security people should be doing, you know, at least some sort of mimic pen testing on the vulnerability to make sure your critical infrastructure is properly secured after patches are done.
100%. That's the thorough vulnerability management process, right?
Mhm.
Just if you just patch and then go get tacos, you know, you might be missing something. Sometimes patches fail. Sometimes the endpoints are not online and they don't see them.
To get to the root answer for Kimberly Can Fix It, there is a lot of folks that do not like putting their stuff in the government or into a SaaS application. The main premise is illegal search and seizures, right? So let's just say hypothetically you're in a potentially regulated industry, or you're afraid of, you know, getting warrants issued for your content. Then, you know, so an attorney can submit a warrant to Microsoft to get access to your infrastructure in the 365 tenancy. And Microsoft is not legally required to tell you that they received and or complied with that search warrant for your tenant. So if you're overly paranoid, like a lot of our clients are, they will keep that stuff on premise. They will not put that stuff in the cloud.
There you go.
Going here that kind of goes with that. Microsoft Teams saves recordings. Microsoft Teams can save recordings. You don't have to record your meeting.
Mhm.
If you don't record it, then it's not going to save it.
And it doesn't record by default yet.
Yeah.
It's not like Zoom where you can automatically record every call.
If you create a meeting and you set it to auto record, it will auto record when that meeting starts.
Yeah, but that is meeting by meeting.
Yeah.
100%. Great questions, and definitely interesting to know. But like I said in the daily threat brief, you see so many abandoned SharePoints because it was like, oh, it was a great idea. And then no one, like, people don't, I guess, I don't know why, but people don't understand that, like, if you start something, you have to care and feed it and maintain it. It's not, you don't just to get, it's not like a Viking burial where you just get to push it in the water and, like, wherever it goes, it's on its own. That's not how it works.
Yeah, it's like a puppy.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see. I'm going to skip this Trump one here. All right, so swims with sharks. It'd be great to hear more on your thoughts of cyber awareness training that connects employees. I'll be adding this to my job description in 2025. Okay. I mean, I did kind of like lose my mind on stream about this, but I'll be brief, and then I'll throw it to the panel. Use private chat if you want to comment on this panel. So information security awareness training. I know DJ BSEC does this as well. I'm not trying to sell my GRC course, but I have an entire module on it on how to do it correctly. The TLDR is, you need to be constantly in their mind. One practice that I like to do is send an email out to the organization once a week, right? So Monday cyber tips with Jerry, or your Tuesday infosec with Jerry. Like, personalize it and just have it be one point. You cannot try to cook the entire cow, right? You can't just throw a steamship on the smoker and be like, yeah, I got it done. You need to individually do this, because the audience that's consuming this information, they don't have time for that.
Ain't nobody got time.
Right? You have about 8 seconds of their attention. Okay. A lot of this is why, like, the YouTube algorithms and all that stuff. So you have about 8 seconds. So catchy subject line, one sentence about what the situation is, one sentence about what to do about it, and then maybe, you know, one sentence for something else. If you can make a little 10-second video with you saying it, the same thing, that allows them to consume either visually because they like to read, or, you know, make it super easy for them. They can just click the play button. And then do that weekly. Couple things, just like YouTube and consistency. If you start doing it every week, people will begin to expect it, especially if it's like interesting or compelling or whatever. You're not going to get the whole organization, but you will be introducing some best practices. A secondary implicit value from this, and I've seen this firsthand multiple times, is by making the video and having my face there and saying, this is from Jerry, right? You begin to develop a relationship. A lot of people who click on dumb stuff and see bad happening on their computer get worried. They're like, am I going to get fired? Is this bad? I'm just going to turn my computer off and back away, right? It's almost, that's like a joke in movies sometimes where like, you know, like Bill Murray in Caddyshack, when the priest gets hit with the lightning bolt, he just like throws the bag and runs away. Your end users will do that unless they know that they can contact you, Swims with Sharks, because you are personable, you are trying to help, you have a relationship effectively with them, even though you may not have met them. I've had multiple people call me out of the blue, like at the organizations I've worked at, and say, hey, I don't know if you're the right person, but I literally just got this email and I put in my username and password and I don't think it's real. Like, what do I do? And you're like, hey, listen, like, first of all, we're not doing the blame game here. Show me the link, send me the email. Let's look at it. Okay, let's first like change your creds. Like, you're going to have to do that. People are so willing to just do the right thing if you lower the barrier of fear for them. And that's the power of information security awareness. I know a lot of practitioners on the red side scoff at information security awareness training, but like literally your workforce of 10,000 employees, they're touching all the things. So you need to help them. All right. Any other thoughts on DJ B-Sec? Go ahead.
Yeah, Priceless Pancake also said, do you bring it around a specific topic or recent news? And so for me, it depends on what's the point you're trying to get across, right? Are you seeing stuff within your sector of the corporation that you're in? Is it in your sector that you're seeing a whole bunch of things constantly? So now you don't want to make light of what's going on, but you want to be able to say, hey, look, over the last 3 months, we've seen an uptick throughout the community or throughout our sector of these specific attacks. So everybody here needs to be cognizant of this. One of the things that I like to do is I like to spend time and go through, find individuals that have had issues over the last month, 2 months, quarter, whatever it is, get those and bring those together and create a video about that specifically as the corporation. Most people talk about how you want to make it personal to somebody, like, oh, if you do this, then your bank account's going to get hit, or you do this, your parents' house is they'll lose their house because they're, whatever. I like to do it in the sense of a corporation and what's going on with the corporation, so people in the office or in that company can see, hey, we actually had somebody click on a bad email, and then I like to actually show what happened. So I'll use any.run or something along those lines to go through and explain it. I hate, and you talked about this earlier, Jerry, you send a message out and, hey, here's the 12 modules you have to do. Everybody opens that tab. Nobody watches it. They set it on 1.5 and they just let it fly.
Yeah.
If you set it to something that's going on in the company and you say, hey, look, this actually happened to somebody in the company. This is why I'm bringing it forth. And then explain how it happened. Go through the whole thing. It's not just, hey, Bob was in the office and he clicked on something and Sally saw it and she went and told somebody. This actually shows, hey, Bob clicked on this email. This is what happened. And he continued to go through all these steps and processes and still got to the end where it asked him to log in, and he continued to log in. Throughout this whole process, where would you have stopped? Would you have stopped to 2 clicks in, 3 clicks in, 4 clicks in? You have to explain to them so they understand it. And like Jerry said, you've got to keep it fresh, so you keep it, keep them engaged, but you got to get your point across. That's the big thing, is getting the point across. A lot of companies nowadays require at least one session of cybersecurity a year, and that's how I would go about it. Maybe one quarter you're doing two different departments, another quarter you're doing a couple other departments, and so forth. But you have to, in a corporation, in a company, you want to try and keep it around the company itself and show how doing something can invoke something bad within the company. It's kind of everybody hates the whole carrot and the stick. You're going to give a carrot or you're going to beat them with the stick, and there's a yin and a yang to it.
Yeah, 100%. And I also want to point out really quickly, Swims with Shark says, so you wrap around a topic around recent. Yeah, that's 100%. That works. If you don't have something internal that happened, recent news, something that they would have heard about on the drive-in, would be good. I want to point out right now, thank you, Kimberly, for reminding me. If you do ! Newsletter right now in chat, ! Newsletter, literally every single Monday for probably 2 years, we send out a newsletter. It's in your inbox at 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time every Monday with 3 different stories and basically, in many instances, copy and pasteable for the email that I'm talking about. You can literally just copy, paste it, and send it. You could be reducing cyber risk before you even have your first cup of coffee on Monday morning. ! Newsletter. You do want to get that. I do want to say really quickly, shout out to John V for the hello Simply Cyber super chat. Definitely nice. I do want to point out really quickly, John reached out to me yesterday. Inside the Simply Cyber Discord server, there is a AI ML security channel. I believe it's under the job roles, so like GRC, red, blue, AI ML. John has been doing a lot of mentoring in that space. So if you're interested in learning from, basically someone who's been around for a minute, who's interested in mentoring, John is in that channel. So go check that out if that's an area of interest. Also want to say shout out to Fredon, who's responsible for the Ghanaian spicy soup that I had on Tuesday. The panel on Friday is always my favorite. What do you guys say about how we extending that 30-minute jaw jacking on Friday? All right. Well, we'll have to explore that as a production thing. I have sometimes we do it Fredon and sometimes we do not. It really depends on the situation. I have a meeting at 9:30 that I have to attend, but we'll see what we can do. Casually, Joseph, getting back to information security awareness, you had a thought on it.
Yeah, I was basically going to touch. It kind of got touched on in what BSEC said, but I was going to say make it relate to them. I know he said he likes to make it relate to the corporation, but when you make it relate to them, most people have an attention span that's burnt out from TikTok. You've got 30 seconds before they stop caring. Clickbait titles, clickbait, thumbnails, be like, you can lose all your money doing from this, or your bank account password's the same as your TikTok password. Just do stuff like that to actually make them go, wait, what? And then they start watching it, and then you force feed them a little information.
Shove it right down their throat.
I would add a couple more things to this. Is make sure that you have buy-in by upper management, that they help to push the cybersecurity awareness, and that you have buy-in by the managers, mid-management. So when something is put out and people don't look at it, or you send something out, that they're coming down and saying, hey, this is a requirement that you need to watch this. You need to pay attention to this stuff that's going on. The reason I say that is if something does happen and they come back around and like, well, did you actually do cybersecurity awareness? You can put out and show that you have that everything's been put out there, that you have documentation, that it was sent to people looked at it. And if it happened to be one of the people that did not look at it and did not pay attention, and they're the ones that caused the issue, there can be repercussions.
100%.
It's bad to say that, but now the stick comes into hand and people begin to pay more attention. We all know that everybody says nothing's going to happen, and then it does happen, and then everybody freaks out and goes crazy, and that's when everybody gets funding and all that other stuff. This is the same type of thing.
Absolutely. It's the one that says Alex Z in the pinned comments. Really quick, while Justin checks that out, I want to remind everybody, this is Jaw Jacking. It is a panel, as you can see, this panel of industry practitioners, and we're here to answer all of your cybersecurity questions. So if you've been trying to DM someone or hit them up on Slack or Discord to get your question answered, this is the time to do it. Take advantage of this this group of just deep experience. Okay.
Space Tacos has a good one for you, Jerry.
About the firing?
Yeah.
Yeah, let me see it really quickly. Where is it? Oh, here it is.
I threw it up.
Space Tacos wants to know if oh my God, you do it.
It was there and you took it away.
Okay. Hey, has anyone ever been fired as a result of an audit you performed? So no one has been fired. There has been it gets super political, frankly. There's been instances where I have found major gaps. I won't tell you what organization, but I have found major gaps. And then you go to, like, I found major gaps with the IT department. Okay. Major gaps, what I would consider problematic. I report them to management. Management has the same disposition as IT. This was an organization that had a lot of people who had been there for a lot of time and had, grown together and gotten complacent, frankly, right? So they didn't want to worry about IT because they had this, 25-year seasoned, salty admin who could do all the things, and it was just out of sight, out of mind. So when I report up, like, hey, like, I'm just reporting objectively, right? There's some issues here. Okay, yeah, we got it. We'll take care of it. And nothing happened. So in my experience, no one's ever been fired. But what I would say is, unfortunately, if someone was fired or not fired, I genuinely believe that it would not be directly related to my audit findings. My audit findings would simply be a crowbar in order to remove that person from the organization. So essentially what I'm saying is, if someone were to get fired from an audit I perform, I believe that they would have been fired anyways, and that management was looking for an excuse, not, oh boy, like, look at this, like, hey, love you, mean it, but you're actually introducing too much risk to the organization. You're going to have to go. Again, with firing people too, only in small businesses do you get like the get the hell out of here. Usually there's a performance improvement plan. You go through HR, all those things. But yeah, no one, even in instances where arguably you could be like, yeah, I don't really know if they're got the good of the company or the good of the mission in place here. That's what's that. All right. Okay. So we got Justin Gold coming in hot. Justin Gold looks like wading through logs, wants to ask about what color GRC is.
GRC, that would be kind of everything in my opinion, because you're going through all of it. But you wanted me to answer Alex Z's question. Transition.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I thought your comment said I can answer.
No,
Wade's
that's me.
question.
That's me. You're getting us confused again.
Wrong Gen Z.
I can answer.
Well,
Wade's
this is
question.
why you should use real names in private chat. So
I already identified myself in there, sir.
no, I know, but you have to understand I'm producing and on stream and dealing with 3 other things. Okay, let's go, Justin.
All right, transitioning from construction PM to CS, how would you map a route to get into Cloud CS? I'm midway through the Google CS cert. I don't know too much about that CS cert. What I would say is you kind of, if you're already kind of on that path and doing stuff, maybe make a lab, maybe spin something up and actually, do some hands-on stuff. Don't just read a book. But the one thing I always hear people say with cloud is find a platform and really stick with it and kind of get settled and comfortable with that one, and then explore your options from there. If anybody else has anything to add, please.
Anybody want to chime in on this one?
I think you hit it with find a platform, stick with it, and learn it. Don't bounce around.
100%.
And honestly, if there's going to be a platform on cloud that you're going to deal with, you're going to either do AWS or you're going to do Azure right now.
Mm-hmm.
Google Cloud is there, but if you're looking for a job, it's going to be an AWS or an Azure.
Google Cloud is present, but it's mostly just their SaaS apps that people use.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I would also say, if it were me, again, this is easy to say, it's like a hand wave. I would look at current job openings and see if you find ones that you're interested in that have AWS versus Azure, right? I feel like, correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like because it depends on what you want to do. If you just want to get paid, all right, then, the world's your oyster. But depending on what you want to do, AWS, in my experience, is typically tied to SaaS companies, tech companies, software companies. Azure is more tied to traditional corporate companies that, have basically migrated up to the cloud or are hybrid, which is even more even more common nowadays. But so depending on what you want to do, that's how you can focus your choice there. Casually Joseph has a comment on what color GRC is. Why don't you go ahead and jump on that?
Yeah, it's a manila envelope. And if it was an ice cream flavor, it would be vanilla because the controls they put in place are too stringent. and don't allow any flavors to be put in because the supply chain might compromise it.
All right, so
Coming in hot.
that's
I would
one.
love to be compromised by chocolate chips.
Uh,
So that's
Jerry
one,
knows it's true.
That's one take. That's one take. All right. Taekwon Gong wants to know: can multi-factor cause clashes?
Yes.
Yes.
Go ahead and talk to it, Joseph.
multi-factor is what he said.
Yeah, multiple multi-factor.
you.
When people are implementing different multi-factors, so say you're using Cisco and you're using a different one at the same time.
Okta.
Okta, for instance. You may have half of your employees on one, and you may have your half of your other employees on the other one, and now you don't know who's on which. And if something breaks over there, you have to be specialized. And if you're using them combined, for instance, if you're using like Microsoft Authenticator and Okta at the same time. Now, if one breaks, you can't get to the other one. You can't
Right.
get into your profile, and you're locked out, and you're waiting until that fire's put out.
Or you've got the people calling into help desk saying, I can't log in, and you don't know which one they're trying to get into.
Which one? I don't know which one's broken. My MFA is broken. Which one?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yes.
So, also speaking of MFA, again, I have like PTSD from this, but I want to let everyone know in chat, rolling out MFA is not turning on the switch and calling it a day. You have so many end users who don't know how to install the app on their phone. If you're going to buy RSA tokens, they cost $20 a piece. You got to buy them, which is budget, and you have to ship them to the different locations. And then you have to, again, educate the end users. You'll get a lot of privacy zealots who think that you're installing an app on their phone to spy on them. So you're going to have to deal with that. It's a massive pain in the A.
You got to have backup tokens.
What's that?
You got to have backup tokens if you're doing RSA tokens or YubiKeys and they lose it. Now what?
Yeah, I just want people to know, because I remember when I first did MFA rollout, I was like, oh, how hard can it be? What's this going to take? 2 weeks?
Yeah.
And it was like a 6-month project. And
Yeah,
even then, it was like a pain in the ass. Oh, you got to educate support or help desk on what to look for and everything like that. So
a security awareness video that goes
Hey,
out.
we got your audio issue back again.
all right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Looks like Kimberly Can Fix It might join us in the DJ BSEC studio. I know no one asked about MFA rollout, but I just felt it was interesting and important to note. SuperSec K says, can you talk more about getting buy-in when you're the only cyber person at the government org? Hey, JMod, you seem to have experience in this space. Why don't you tell us?
So as much as I hate to say this, you're going to have to do a lot of favors for other people. You're going to have to get that political buy-in and kind of earn your way in, and then start trying to sell what you're doing as enabling what they're wanting.
Do you have an example where you did that?
Not one that comes right to mind.
Okay. So, I mean, I guess I'll offer one up. So from a favors perspective, maybe someone needs like a firewall rule opened and they need it right now, and you prioritize it, right? Obviously, there's a little bit of risk associated with that, but you can apply that risk profile and kind of back into the firewall rule change or whatever. I'm not saying fully open up the internet to the friggin' box, but my point is, like, that's an example. Or someone's MFA token is busted and you drive over to the warehouse or to their house or whatever and hand them that token instead of sending it in the mail and waiting 2 days. It's a super pain in the butt, but you're starting to get political capital, for lack of a better term.
You're making friends and actually being genuine, and they'll see that, and they'll be like, oh, well, he really wants to help. He's not just trying to force his agenda or whatever.
Yeah. Also, and sometimes it doesn't even have to be like, what do we got? YubiKeys there, Eric?
I got a whole bunch of them here.
Sometimes it doesn't have to be like even incredibly painful to you too, right? Like if someone calls you and they have a genuine question, like I'll give you an example. I had a person call me and they're like, I think my mom is involved in a romance scam. Like, I know this doesn't have to do with work, but you're the only person I know who possibly could help me. What do you think? Now, if I said, you're right, it doesn't have to do with work, click, like that's a surefire way to piss in her Cheerios, right? It was a woman. So what I would say is, be reasonable. You can't just deploy to her house and do incident response on her family, but you can listen to her. You can direct her to resources. You can make yourself available. That's another way to take advantage of that. All right. Looks like BSEC pieced out. I don't know what his problem is. Tech issues.
Yeah, his audio's jacked up.
Yeah. Interesting when the shoe's on the other foot, huh? Mr. Mixing Board. All right.
I guarantee it's because of
his browser.
It's not browser.
It's not because some jackwagon decided to mess with his audio settings.
Okay, I feel targeted in that statement. Hey, DJ BSEC, can you speak?
Is it now?
Oh, you sound good.
All I did was shut down Restream and opened it back up.
All right.
Yeah.
We're rejoined
How
here
long
by
has
the
it been
buttery
since you,
smooth DJ BSEC.
How long has it been since you updated your browser?
What color?
Update.
What color is your notification window right now?
Actually, so I told Jerry when I came on earlier, I had switched over to Mozilla to see if it would do the same thing. So I just killed Mozilla and turned on Chrome, and now I'm back over on Chrome. So it's just a browser. When you're in, for whatever reason, when I'm in there for a long time, it does that. Who knows?
All right. Hey, really quickly, it's 9:30, bottom of the hour. I do want to remind everybody at 1 p.m. on the Simply Cyber Con YouTube channel, we're going to be doing a hype meeting, giving you all the information for Simply Cyber Con, which is November 1st. Go to simplycybercon.org to get more information. We hope you can join us. We got a lot of great updates to share with you. I'm going to peace out, but based on Fredon's request and the some of the panel, we are going to continue pushing on for bonus time. I have to leave for a meeting. I leave you in the capable hands. DJ BSEC, if you can produce. Eric Taylor, Casually Joseph, Justin Gold, thank you for your time. I'm Jerry from Simply Cyber. Team SC, we'll see you later. Thank you. Hold on. Let me get... Okay, Eric, push me. Wait, I'm sorry.
He pushed himself.
I did a buffer overflow in my head. Hold on. Ready? Now push me.
There.
That was amazing.
I love that. That was great.
Here, push me, and then
push me right out.
Let's see, there we go. What else do we have in here? Oh, I guess we could talk about. I know Eric wanted to talk about the unhackable phone.
I didn't really care.
We could talk about the unhackable phone. I haven't read a lot about the unhackable phone. I know that there's some billionaire that created this phone that's supposed to be this unhackable phone, but I wouldn't mind seeing that over at Pwn2Own.
Yeah, I mean, do we even know the manufacturer of it?
I actually was trying to look it up when it came in. It's a
I looked far enough to know they were not talking about Graphene OS, and I'm like, okay, there's another one out there now.
Yeah, I think it's their own OS. It's some billionaire. Let's see.
I know there's a bunch of meme tweets about Elon Musk creating his own secure phone.
So I saw that too, and apparently, like, I saw some. I don't know how true it is. I saw something a couple of days ago about his new phone that comes out that you don't even have to plug in. That it automatically charges by light.
We got a $10 super chat from Nabs, aka Great Nabs. Thank you very much. BSEC, do you have a sound effect? I know you got your board. You're the cool one. There you go.
Yeah, I can't find anything right now of where it's at. We'll keep searching and we'll look through.
In other news, if you have a Tesla, they're going to be rolling out an update here soon where you can, as you sleep or as you work, your Tesla could be a taxi cab driver and make you that side hustle money.
Oh, really? So just
turn on taxi mode and it's just going to go around. It's just go taxi itself off. But the thing I'm like, all right, you've got limited miles on your EV vehicle. Battery. So let's just say hypothetically you show up at 8, it drives around for like half a day. Is it going to have enough electricity to get you freaking back home again?
Well, and if you're asleep and it's out doing that, then when you wake up in the morning and you're going to go, if it takes you like half a battery to get to work and back, like the other thing that I would say is there's nobody in the car to keep somebody from just getting in the front seat and taking over the car.
I'm sure there'd be some sort of security feature like
it turns off.
Well,
it drives itself back. It's like a drone and drives itself back home and it locks them in your driveway.
That would be awesome. Unauthorized entry. Just pulls up to the police station.
Let's see, what was this one? I created a security awareness Slack channel. Oh, that's going back to the security awareness stuff. You can create those type of channels. You can put those in there, but in all reality, that becomes more along the lines of just somebody talking back and forth. You really need to be able to talk to people, make them interact, set up quizzes and things like that. And when it comes to security awareness, somebody said, what's the brand I keep seeing of the word hacker on it? Also, can you give more in depth, Jerry, on
He's probably
it's
talking about
Rekka.
Yeah, Rekka.
It's Rekka.
Yeah.
It's Rekka. It's a part of Black Hills Antisyphon.
Oh,
They just
that's
have
what they're
their own
talking
line of clothes. It says Rekka, but when you look in a mirror or if you're on camera,
Yeah.
it says hacker.
No, it's perfectly spelled backwards.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Black Hills.
Yep.
I was trying to figure out like what hacker thing is he talking about. Let's see. Does anybody have resources to learn about CMMC in a deeper way?
It's CMMC of awesomeness. You go to cmmc-coa.com. It's a full-on free resource for you to use.
See if I can find. There it is. I'll put the
CMMC-COA.
Yeah, I'll put it in chat. It's coming in probably under Jerry's name.
Yep.
We got that one. Somebody says transitioning from construction work. Did we already do that one? Construction PM to.
Yeah, I answered that one.
Yeah, we did that one.
Producer's not filtering out his stuff.
Has anyone ever been fired? We did that one.
Has anybody
Instead of
Eric?
Here you go. Cyber Pappy said, instead of know before, can we have simply cyber training? You have to.
Good.
We need to get.
Dude, I don't know if it's literally a troll or not, but the amount of people who have messaged me on LinkedIn since I did that stupid drawing of C2, like people are coming out. You should teach. Why?
It's fun. I like teaching.
Yeah, teaching is. I mean, it's fun when you know what you're doing and.
Yeah, but when you have a jackwagon
and
makes
you're
an
using
ugly
paint to draw.
photo on MS Paint online, does not qualify someone to teach.
Sometimes that's the simplest way of explaining it.
Yeah, but you're also like the complete opposite of monotone and by the book.
That yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Here's Eric drawing with MS Paint on the C2 construction.
Oh. It was simple. It was effective. You got the job done.
I mean, I'm glad people enjoyed it, but I was just like, this is not the thing I was expecting.
Can you talk more about getting buy-in when you're the only cyber person in your local government org?
Yeah, we already answered that.
Yeah.
That must have been when I was dealing with everything else. Okay, we did the unhackable one. This one, are there any cyber certifications that focus on defending industrial control systems?
I don't know if Dragos does, but I know Sands does.
I was going to say Sands has them.
I was going to say Sands is the only one that I've found.
I know Dragos does
ICS and
training.
OT.
I don't know.
Yeah, Dragos has training, but no certs. Certs at the end of the day, let's be real. Certs aren't like the end all be all. So if you go and get the training, like if you do Dragos training, it's still, you're still learning something. You just don't have a piece of paper at the end to show it.
Now, I do know Dragos used to have like a whole Lego city that was fully ran, had power, lights, water.
That sounds awesome.
That's pretty cool.
That sounds very much like a Rob Lee thing. Yeah.
Let's see. Here's one. If you're new into NIST CSF, and you have to implement the global CSF policy for a small business, where would you start and lead to?
Asset inventory
Yes,
is where you would start.
Yeah, you're always going to start with
software
asset.
and asset. Yeah.
Mhm.
You got to know what you have before you can do anything with it.
Asset inventory is where you should start, and then you should. I don't know CSF. I don't have it memorized off the top of my head, but there's some more painful points in there that take a long time to implement, and those would probably be your last ones to implement.
Yeah, I mean, what you want to do is
you're-
look at the whole framework. Like what Joseph was saying, look at the whole framework, and you're going to start with asset inventory, and then you're going to find out what you can accomplish in whatever amount of time.
Also,
There's a
what
lot of-
needs to be accomplished.
Yeah, what needs to be there. You go. That's a better way to put it. What needs to be accomplished? Because
So
not everything can or will need to be accomplished for your specific organization.
Mm-hmm.
If you go to Google and look up NSF or no, sorry, NIST framework policies or something like that.
Mhm.
Spreadsheets. A lot of them will actually break down like phases for you as well. So you like, all right, this is phase 1 that I'll go through. This is phase 2 that I'll go through. Things of that nature. So there's a bunch of people who've done a lot of the legwork of separating it out. So just try to use the resources instead of trying to reinvent the wheel. That's the biggest problem I see with a lot of people trying to do implementations is let's just reinvent the wheel. No, please don't.
I don't know if Audit Scripts has anything for CSF, but I know they have CIS 18, and if you implement CIS 18, you're going to be very close to CSF. It's not quite the same, but a lot of similarities. But you can find resources that help you track what you have and have not implemented. And at the end of the day, you can use Excel to probably make your own. And you're going to want to have proof of how you've implemented controls readily available if there's ever an audit or an incident where you need to prove this to your insurance provider. And you're going to want to make sure that you verify controls regularly. Because you implemented something today does not mean it's still implemented 6 months from now.
It doesn't?
No, not quite. And I would say defining small business, you would have to define small business. You may have a larger business than you think. Small business to me is sub 100. Sub 100 employees.
100 million or team members?
100 employees.
Okay. Because it depends on who you talk to is what metric they're going off of.
You could still have you could still have 1,000 devices in a 100 employee environment. I mean, it would be insane. You'd have to figure out what you're doing with 1,000 devices. But if you're in a small environment and you have very few assets, get MFA implemented immediately.
Yeah.
It's going to be one of the hardest ones to do, and I know you're going to want to save it for last, but if you can get it implemented at the beginning of your security work, it's going to be easier because people will have time to learn with it, and that's probably one of the more painful things that you can implement for people. As a user, it's one of the more painful things. Most of the stuff they won't even notice.
We got one in here. What are your thoughts on YubiKey securing endpoints for CMMC?
I mean, passwordless is one of the moves people are taking.
The whole
YubiKeys are
industry
great.
is pushed that way.
Yeah, YubiKeys are a great thing. It's just going to come to a problem of people losing them.
That's why we keep extra. Is CMMC mandating passwordless yet? Last I seen, I haven't seen the latest one as supposedly in proposal for final adoption, but I think CMMC is still under, MFA, not, passwordless. I could be wrong. Please educate me.
I'm trying to find the checklist right now.
Again, I'll stand on my hill that Microsoft Authenticator is not MFA.
I mean, it's kind of MFA.
You're kind of MFA.
I guess. I would ask what you're doing in my house if you came in. That's like MFA. I'm not seeing anything about YubiKeys listed specifically.
Yeah, or you can just look at passwordless.
I don't think anybody is mandating right now.
No, passwordless doesn't even come up.
I know a lot of
for those not in GRC.
Go that way. Yeah.
For those in GRC, or for those not in GRC, what is CMMC?
Military is the government's abomination of a framework of this 800-171 because they can't do security properly.
Yeah. CMMC is just another regulatory framework. It's not even regulatory, it's compliance. It's supposed to be regulatory if you do business with the government. You would have to be compliant to level 2 or 3, depending on what you're doing.
Depends if you're dealing with CUI or not.
Let's see. Let me put this in here. That's cybersecurity maturity model.
Yeah, cybersecurity model and certification.
Yeah, I think they want to know exactly. So,
and those who don't, sorry.
No, go for it.
The CUI stands for controlled unclassified information. It's all around the DivCat space and dealing with the federal government and things of that nature. So if you'll know if you're a prime or a subprime organization. It'll be like no business you ever worked at before, supposedly.
Mm-hmm. I'm transferring from bartending and management into GRC. What advice do you have for entry level interviews and getting my first GRC role?
Dude, you know what? Hats off to you, because that's actually probably a really good pivot, because they deal with the suck. They deal with people so much, and angry people. This is not the way I wanted my effing drink, right? I mean, dude, that's actually a pretty good shift, I think.
No, it is. It's a great shift. If you're doing bartending and management, then you're already, one, taking care of people, and two, if you're doing managing in a bar, I'm sure you're having to go over different controls that are in place for how much is being served to somebody. Are your bottles actually having the pours that are reported? Are you clean? Like, because DHEC comes in and they're going to come check your bar. You have to be able to keep your liquor license. These are all things that you are already auditing. So
did your bouncer verify this person's age?
It's 21. Yep. You're having to check your, it's all these things that you're already auditing. So you are doing it, just not in cyber. Now what you're going to have to do is learn what you're checking for in cyber.
Different check.
Just translate it. That's all it is. You're going to, for interviews, you're going to want to try and relay that experience. Until you're really in industry, you're not going to be able to. You can talk about technical things that you've done if you do home labs. I know Jerry has his GRC course, which has some different home labs you can do. One of the ones I love to recommend is pretend that your home is an environment and audit it as though you were trying to comply to a framework. And once you do that and you start implementing controls, which, by the way, GRC, you're going to want to have to know how to implement controls. Depending on where you're going, you're not actually implementing controls. It's usually separated, but if you're in a smaller business, they might expect you to implement as well. So get familiar with that.
Yep. Writing the policy versus actual implementation.
Mm-hmm. And if I'm telling you right now, as a GRC person, if you can suggest how to implement things effectively and you just give it to IT, it is more likely going to happen. If you just tell them they need to do something, they're going to look at the email, read the email, and move on to what they were doing.
I know that from experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll worry about that one in a couple of days. Let's just continue what we were doing.
Yeah, that's a tomorrow problem, and tomorrow never happens.
Yeah,
yep.
Until tomorrow does happen, and it happens because something big happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, isn't that it's always fun. There's an incident. Oh, did we have this in place? Oh, let's do it right now. Let's do it right now.
We talked about it like 6 months ago, but we just haven't had time.
Yeah.
We are out of questions. We got about 10 minutes. Let's see. Yeah, I agree. People are saying bartender in college and use. Yeah, I mean, the thing with bartending is you already have the soft skills, so they're there. You're used to talking.
I didn't
with
even
people
mention social. I was about to say and bring that up. When you're a bartender, you're like a pseudo therapist.
You're giving them drugs.
Yeah,
they're sitting on the couch.
You're getting them to calm the F down.
Yeah.
Yep. People talk to you. They talk to you about your problems, and they talk to you about your pain points, and you're offering solutions sometimes. I don't know if you do. Some people don't. But that's a thing that you're going to want to be able to harness when you're in GRC is being trustworthy and being reliable and being able to be listened to, or being a good listener, rather. So.
Yeah, I would say for me being in food, the number one skill was you're always looking to see who needs that help. And that's going to be a huge thing for GRC.
All right, I think we're out of questions.
Yeah, I've scrolled through a few times.
Yeah, I don't see any more. It is Friday. I think everybody's ready to have party time for. Everybody wants to see Jerry scream and yell and then blow out his voice so he can't talk next week.
We have Simply CyberCon next week. I'm very excited. I think it's going to be a good time.
I think we've discussed that there's going to be a couple hundred people there possibly.
Wow.
And
It should be good. I'm not involved, so it should go smoothly.
and then there's more online. More people will be online, but
Barricade's involvement is through me.
You and Justin, but yeah.
Yeah, Justin.
Which reminds me, are you coming by sometime this year to
Yes.
pick up your stuff?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
oh, here
Sorry,
we go.
side comment, ladies and gentlemen. Side comment.
Yeah.
My apologies.
I have
Hey,
something
this
at
is-
his house. I need to go get it.
This kind of rolls with the exact same thing with bartending.
Yeah.
The same thing applies. Cosmetology,
Talking to
because what are you
people.
doing in cosmetology? You're sitting there talking to people.
Yep.
There's cosmetology. I was about to say bartender.
Yeah,
but,
hospitality in general.
Hospitality, yeah.
Yeah.
It's
It's
a lot of the same points.
Yeah, and I would say for something along those lines, where in those industries, cosmetology, bartending, things that have not been technical, that you're not part of or haven't dealt with anything technical on the IT side or security side, GRC is a good one to start with, because it is policies, procedures, and you get to do the job, but then you also you'll see what happens. And I've said this many times. You'll see what happens, and you'll learn from it and move on.
All this hospitality, I'm sure Kimberly can fix it. It's in chat talking about all of her hospitality woes and stuff. She can, she's spent a lot of time in hospitality, so she could teach you or talk to you about the transition.
So Space Tacos, I was actually sent a message to the mod saying something about this, like maybe there'd be a Simply CyberCon hype this weekend or something. I don't know. We'll see. See how the night goes, how the day goes, and see if I can. I've got to pull everything out. That's all.
Oh, I hope not.
Insert adult comment here.
Pull it all out. Go. Let's see.
Yeah, a lot of people are attending virtually through Discord, which will be great. Speaking of, I still need to get those channels converted to stage channels because somebody made them normal voice channels. And that's just going to be utter chaos. If we do a stage channel, we can just put the stream of the event on stage and everybody can sit in the crowd.
All right. 8:53 or 9:53. Let's see. We do have one for Super. What's this one? Where do y'all get y'all's challenge coins from?
Y'all have challenge coins?
Jerry made the challenge coins. I have no idea where he got them from.
I think Josh actually got them.
Oh,
done.
did Josh make them?
We'll have to
Jerry
ask
delegates.
Yeah. I mean, he's a manager. He's a CISO.
I don't know.
Josh. That was a fantastic comment.
Yeah.
Let's see. I started Jerry's SOC analyst video demos, wondering if a VM would be best to work through a demo.
Why not?
I mean, sandbox or anything. I would. I
I
don't know
mean,
what all was in there.
it's the same as a computer. It's just
Yeah.
virtual.
Containerized.
Yeah. Well, no, it's not Docker, but yes,
I mean, it can be.
it could be. Yes.
I
If
mean,
you want to use Docker
Windows
for
Sandbox is a
GRC,
containerized VM.
Yeah, I was gonna say it is in essence it's a container,
Container,
isn't it? In there.
Especially Sandbox, because you're spinning up
Sandboxes.
one off.
Windows sandboxes.
Yes.
And tearing it down.
Not VM in the traditional sense.
No, because you still got to
No.
build the OS and stuff, so it's not really a container. No, I'm not. What? I didn't even dance at Wow Wild Hackafest. What is this going on? I'm not even going
We
to.
have gifts of you dancing.
No, you don't.
Yeah, there you go. Ready to get on the floor. Eric dancing on the floor.
I mean, I don't know if it's at Wild West, but there's definitely.
I don't think so.
I mean, there's the
Look,
meme
if
of-
I'm dancing, that means I'm drunk.
there's the
We can
meme
make that
of,
happen.
of him dancing.
Oh, dance it. Do my fat man happy dance in my chair. Yeah, that. Okay.
Yeah. Kim said Josh Mason made them.
Yeah.
So those who don't know, I do this.
All right, 8:55. We've got what time? Jerry said, did he say 1 o'clock?
1:30 something. I think 1:30.
So 12 o'clock God's time. Got it.
No, the world opens up on the East Coast, so that means that's God's time, not Central. God has never been delayed.
No,
He's not going to do it for the time frame.
Like that's when you don't want to wake up. That's too early. And then when it gets over here, then it's about the right time.
Why is the Central Time always trying to catch up with Eastern Time? Because we've already been awake for several hours when y'all decide to crawl out of bed.
Nah.
Yeah, I just feel bad for Pacific time people. Okay, having to wake up at like 3 o'clock or 5 o'clock in the morning for 8 a.m. interviews and stuff.
Just make it all one big time zone. They're just waking up in the dark. It's no different now.
And so think about that. You would be.
I don't think that's how that works.
You're telling me it'd actually be like 3 o'clock in the morning on Pacific, but it's 6.
Yeah.
People would.
Everybody's working on the same time zone.
Oh.
It's just your outside temperature and ambiance is different.
California would nighttime would go forever, and then daytime would seem like it went forever.
If
Like it would be.
Funnily enough, if we did that with no daylight saving times, eventually it would flip.
Yeah, well, they'd have
No,
like
you wouldn't need it.
it'd be like 10 o'clock at night, and there'd still be sun out. Not
Unless-
that it doesn't happen to us down here, but during the summer, it's ridiculous.
I was going to say, I remember very clearly just like a month ago it being 9 p.m. and the
9
sun being
o'clock,
out.
yeah, it's ridiculous. All right, 8:57, 9:57, where all these guys are.
Got
Last
work to
thoughts,
do.
We can get out of here and get ready to, I guess, go do some work for a while.
I guess it's not going to be Taco Tuesday.
No.
It looks like I'm getting pinged to break 444 Friday.
I don't have to be a part of that.
Hey, look, at least I didn't do it at 4 o'clock in the morning like I normally do. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much for tuning in. We'll do a little bit of sea shanty for those who's coming in, and we'll do the closeout message. Until next time, stay curious, my friends.
A kid whose passwords laid across all sites, they were the same. A criminal then found their fame by taking that data to go. Soon may a criminal come to steal your pictures and data and run. One day when the crime is done, they'll steal your account and go.
Content. Keep the cybersecurity train going by connecting with the other Simply Cyber community resources. We have the Discord server that's lively and always keeps the conversation going. You can connect with me directly on LinkedIn. And also every single weekday morning on the Simply Cyber channel, we're doing live daily cyber threat briefings, 8 a.m. Eastern time, as well as Thursday at 4:30 p.m. We're doing live stream interviews with industry experts, and we produce videos that we push out every Wednesday morning. I'm Jerry from Simply Cyber. I hope you enjoyed the content.